So I ran a packet sniffer on my secure apartment for 48 hours, and honestly, I found that my smart fridge was quite literally broadcasting my Wi-Fi password to anyone within 50 feet. I mean, I wasn't exactly expecting a masterclass in security, but looking at the raw terminal output in Wireshark, I saw my actual network credentials just flying through the air in plain text. It is absolutely mental when you really think about it, right? We're told these devices make our lives better, but they're essentially Trojan horses with a bloody warranty. Look, whilst you're worried about your laptop's firewall or your phone's encryption, your kitchen is leaking your entire digital life to the street. This isn't a one-off glitch or some minor oversight. No, it's a fundamental failure of the secure home we were promised. Think of your Wi-Fi as a vault. You've got a heavy steel door. Solid, right? But your smart fridge just handed a copy of the key to everyone walking past your window. This is the reality of the Internet of Things. A massive network of insecure entry points that you actually paid to install. We are living in a digital glass house, and I just found the first 142 cracks. If the perimeter is this porous at the fridge, imagine what's happening with the devices you actually trust. I started this audit to see if I was safe, but within 2 hours, I realized that the fortress I thought I lived in was actually a sieve. This was just the first breach. And believe me, it only gets worse from here. Look, to actually understand how we got here, we have to look at the Silicon Valley hype machine. Big tech sold us this brilliant utopia. You know, where your coffee's steaming the moment your eyes open and your home is a digital vault. But the technical reality? It's daunting. I call it the architecture of negligence. Most people think a $20 smart plug is just a simple switch, right? Well, when you peel back the plastic, you find something far more sinister. I cracked open the firmware of the most popular plugs on the market, and what I found was zombie code. We're talking about recycled, unpatched Linux libraries dating back to 2014. These devices are essentially digital corpses, reanimated to serve a single cheap purpose, whilst leaving the back door wide open to anyone who knows where to look. This isn't just a minor oversight, mate. It's a full Linux computer running as root by default, with absolutely zero internal firewalls. See, in the world of cybersecurity, root is the God mode. It means the device has total control over its own system, and by extension, a direct line into your private network. It is quite literally a Trojan horse that you paid for, and it is a bloody massive security hole. Whilst you're sleeping, this plastic snitch is quietly leaking metadata packets to servers in jurisdictions with zero privacy laws. Your usage patterns, your location, your network topography, all of it is being harvested every second of every day. But here's the thing. That's not even the craziest part. Because as I dug deeper into the logs, I realized that these cheap plugs were just the scouts. The real threat was sitting right in the middle of my living room, disguised as the one thing I thought was keeping me safe. But there was one detail everyone missed about how these devices actually communicate with each other. You see, these devices are constantly screaming into the void. We call it digital exhaust. It's basically the trail of metadata you leave behind every time you toggle a light switch or ask your fridge for the weather. Whilst you see a smart home, threat actors see a map. I spent some time on a notorious dark web forum recently. You know, the kind where identity is just another commodity. And I found something chilling. For less than the price of a coffee, literally $5,
You can buy a list of dorks. These are essentially specific search queries or scripts that crawl the open web to find hard-coded backdoors in consumer cameras and smart hubs. Look, these aren't sophisticated state-sponsored hacks, right? They are just automated scripts looking for the digital equivalent of a key left under the doormat. And once they are in, your daily habits are laid bare. There is a massive pipeline where data brokers buy this metadata to map your entire life. They know when you eat, when you sleep, and exactly when you leave the house based on the power spikes in your smart appliances. We have entered an era where the manufacturer carries zero risk. I mean, if your smart lock gets breached, they might issue a patch in 6 months. But you are the one standing in a house that is no longer private. You have quite literally traded your physical safety and the sanctity of your home for the convenience of a voice-activated toaster. It is a brilliant bit of marketing, but a bloody massive disaster for your security. But look, the data broker pipeline is just the beginning of the rabbit hole. Because when I started looking at the traffic logs coming out of my bedroom, I found a connection to a server that, technically, shouldn't even exist. Look, that server I found, it wasn't just a glitch or some random routing error. It was a symptom, a sign of a much larger and far more insidious infection. See, we've been sold this glossy vision of the future where our homes anticipate our every need, but in reality, we've invited 1,000 digital spies right into our most private spaces. The smart home is a myth, mate. It's just a brilliant bit of marketing designed to turn your 4 walls into a data mining facility, whilst you pay for the privilege. We have to stop being unpaid beta testers for a dystopian future that prioritizes corporate telemetry over actual human safety. Look, I'm done with the hype, and honestly, you should be too. If you want to reclaim your digital sovereignty, you need to start your own cynical audit. Today. It starts with network segmentation. I mean, think about it. You should not have your smart fridge or those cheap Chinese light bulbs on the same network as your primary laptop. Isolate those IoT devices on their own VLAN. Because when one gets breached, and believe me, it will, the damage stays contained in its own little digital sandbox. Now, you've got to look for the low-hanging fruit. I'm talking hard-coded credentials. If a device doesn't let you change the default password, it's not a tool. It's a liability. It's a wide open door for any script kiddie or botnet to just stray right into your living room. If the manufacturer doesn't respect your security enough to let you change the admin login, that device belongs in the bin, not on your network. But here's the thing. The most powerful tool in your arsenal is actually the word no. You have to ask yourself if the convenience of a voice-activated kettle is really worth the risk of a back door into your life. Sometimes, the most sophisticated security system in the world is just a dumb device, one that doesn't have a Wi-Fi chip. We must treat our personal security with the technical rigor it bloody well deserves. Look, this audit was a massive wake-up call for me. 142 flaws. That's not just a number. It's a map showing how much ground I've given up just for the sake of being lazy. It's time to take that ground back. Your privacy isn't a feature you should have to pay extra for. It's a fundamental right that you're currently giving away for free. Stay cynical, stay secure. And for heaven's sake, air gap your toaster. If this deep dive into the digital abyss helped you realize how exposed your own home might be, I want to hear about it. I mean, what's the most useless smart device you've ever bought that you're now reconsidering? Drop it in the comments and let's talk about it. If you value this kind of technical transparency, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next one.